Hi, I'm Chrissy.
And I'm Jess, and this is Financial Progress.
Before we begin, just want to give a little disclaimer that this is just a conversation between friends. This is not financial advice. Please seek the help of a financial professional before making any financial decisions.
Yeah, so I have another Am I the Asshole story.
Yay! Bring it on, Jess.
Let's go. This one's a little lengthy, but it says AITA for lying to my son about our financial situation. Let's go. All right.
Okay.
So this is mom talking, 45. She recently got into a fight with her 22-year-old son about the fact that she put myself and my husband allowed him to take our student loans to pay for his college when we are in fact actually very wealthy. To give some context, when our son was born, my husband and I agreed we wouldn't spoil him and keep our considerable wealth a secret. Okay. My husband is a lawyer and I'm a dentist. Despite us living in a big house, we often told him we couldn't afford many of the things he asked for due to our mortgage or other loans we had to pay off. We didn't buy the used car he begged us for on his 16th birthday because he was asking us to pay for more than half of it. He had a job, but always spent his money straight away. We wanted to teach him the value of saving. Over time, my husband started to feel guilty, and whenever I wasn't around, would buy our son things he wanted without informing me. When our son graduated high school, he approached us and asked us if we could assist him with college tuition. I told him that we couldn't help due to our mortgage, even though we never had one. For 4 years, my son had to work through college, often sacrificing his social life. One evening after graduating college, he came to surprise us for dinner one night, where one of our good friends was eating with us and his father asked him about college and if he had enjoyed his time there. He told him no, he never had the time due to work and studying, but didn't hold it against due to our financial situation. The friend then says, "Oh, I didn't know you were having financial trouble. What about the vacation spot you were going to buy?" Our son then looked up at us with confused face and said, "You guys can afford a vacation home? How?" There was a silence as I looked at my husband, begging him not to say anything. My husband stupidly decides to admit to our son that I came up with the idea to conceal how wealthy we were and to force our son to work for everything he has, even though we could have made his life easier by helping out with tuition and accommodation and later his student loans. My son asks about our mortgage, to which my husband replies, "We never had one." Our son then recounts all the times we denied him joy due to our not being able to afford a vacation home and asked if it was all a lie. This is when I spoke for the first time and I said yes, but I only came up with this idea so we could raise you as a humble person who knew the value of hard work. He proceeds to drop his fork and tell me he never wants to see me again. He walks out the door and nearly slams it off its hinges. It's been 2 weeks now and refuses to answer my calls. He does call his dad, but whenever I try to speak, he hung up. I still don't think I'm in the wrong, and I don't think it's fair our son still speaks to my husband, but not me. Is it so wrong we wanted to be hardworking? Is it so wrong we wanted him to be a hardworking person who knew the value of saving? So am I the asshole?
Oh, Jess. This is a rough
Crazy.
one. Oh man.
All right, I'll start off then.
Okay.
I think there's a balance,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think it's so important that we show like this next generation the value of working hard, right?
Yes, I agree with that.
But like if your child's struggling, especially tuition, like we all know we hate student loans. I think I would try my best. Well, they have the money. I would help as much as possible. Still like, hey, you don't need to work full time, work part time, do as much as you can. I'll cover the difference. That's me
Mm-hmm.
though, right? Because we grew up in low income community, so we know what it's like to have to get our own student loans. We know the struggle. We fucking hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to like put so much burden on them. Like I want them to learn at the same time, but not to like struggle to that extent.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like there's other ways you can teach your child the value of money. Like maybe
Mhm.
when you're giving them an allowance, making sure they learn how to manage that money well. And also when they get their first job, making sure that they're buying things for themselves. You know, they're saving
Mhm.
money, they're putting some money away for investments. They're doing everything that you know how to do so well, and they have the capability and the capacity to do so. And I feel like maybe it was a missed opportunity here.
Mhm.
And there's other ways you could have shown them. I don't think she went in to say did she pay for half of the car or not. But I think half of the car is reasonable. It sounds like he wanted more than half for the car, which I think that would be the unreasonable part when it comes on like his side, expecting more than half.
Yeah.
And maybe there could have been a little more clarification on that. Like maybe we're only paying for half of your car and you have to come up with the other half. But that's
Mhm.
also a sense of responsibility and them having to come up with half. If I was in that situation and I had the capacity, the capability, the resources to help my child out with their tuition, I would be on board and want to support them and help them get through their schooling without as much. It's difficult. Like I worked and went to school as well, and it's hard.
Mhm.
And I still have student loans that I'm paying for, so it's difficult to dig yourself out of that hole after you're in it. Um. So yeah,
And
I don't know.
you have to think
Yeah.
too, because they are wealthy,
Hmm.
he couldn't get any financial aid because
Yes.
they are wealthy. So
Yes.
like, hello,
Right.
he needed help.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, he's gonna get less assistance because of their them being wealthy. I don't know how they hit it so well from from him.
Yeah, I think that started off completely wrong. Just the lying in general. Like,
Yeah,
why are you teaching him that it's okay to hide that
yeah.
like from your children? Um,
I
it's kind of
also think
sad.
yeah, that's not a good approach. And I also think as far as marriage is concerned between the husband and the wife, like the husband also going behind her back with spending
Hmm.
things on the kid, like I feel like that was not a good model of how a marriage should be more transparent and unified. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of little missed opportunities here that the
Hmm.
parents could have really shown their child, look, this is how we got here. We sacrificed. I'm pretty sure there was some sacrifices in there along the way, but I feel like that was a missed opportunity where they could have shown their kid.
Hmm. And then he
Um,
couldn't even enjoy his college life.
yeah, I
It
feel
was kind
like
of sad.
that was a missed opportunity for him. He doesn't get that time back. Even if they agree to pay for some of it or half or something like that, not expecting them to pay for the whole thing, but some of it would have been nice. But yeah, there's probably a lot of opportunities that he missed out on in
Hmm.
like scholarships or grants because he
They went
wasn't
out of money.
qualified for them because of his parents' income, which yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And so I feel so bad for him because yes, they need to know the value of money, but he was struggling. Like it sounds like
Yeah.
he was struggling um or just didn't have time for anything, and that's what he had to focus on, and
Yeah. And
they
so
couldn't
much
help him.
yeah, so much so that he even said like I don't want to see you guys again, like it had to have been pretty bad for him to say that. Yeah. So
And maybe
I do feel bad for him. Like in a case where your parents do not have the resources, do not have the money to help you out, I completely understand that. But you also do get grants. You get a little bit more financial assistance with those cases. Um and I would say in some cases because not everyone qualifies for the grants, but um you you have more opportunity or chances to get that help, and he didn't have that. So because I guess they assumed he was getting the help from his parents, which he wasn't. So it's yeah, I don't know. I feel
yeah.
sad for him.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
um Yeah, that's kind of sad. So everybody on here, put YTA. You're the asshole. And I think the main thing is the lying. Like, why do you need to lie to him his whole life?
Yeah.
Especially, yeah. And then a lot of people mentioned balance, and it's great to show him value and money, but why let him suffer?
Yeah. And I think there is a balance. Like, I don't think they should have handed everything to him, which they didn't, but it sounds like they didn't give him enough of a hand up.
Nothing.
And I yeah, I don't know. I think I think this is the first one on where
I know.
we kind of agree that, yeah, I'm so sorry to say, but yeah, you sound like a little bit of an
Yeah,
asshole.
like 100%. This is the first time where like you're 100% asshole. I think most of them they were kind of assholes.
I guess I'm a little too nice to actually say it, but yeah, it's along
Yeah.
those lines of, yeah, maybe you should have helped out a little more or been a little bit more transparent, a little open about if you did struggle at that time and when you're in your younger days, like growing up, maybe just talked about it and said we worked really hard for this wealth and we want to help pass it along to you. And yeah, but I think, it's a shame that he didn't get to enjoy his college experience, which is a one-time thing, as much because of the
Whatever
commitment he had
lives.
to make to both work and school, which is difficult, very difficult.
I put it in ChatGPT to see what it says.
Oh my gosh, what did it say?
Very long. All right. I'm gonna read it. So I just copied and pasted what I read. So it says, it sounds like you're dealing with a complicated situation where a well-intentional goal teaching your son the value of hard work has led to a serious fallout. To assess whether you're in the wrong, it's important to consider the emotional impact of your actions and how your son might perceive them. Oh my gosh, this is kind of long though. Let's see. From your perspective, you and your husband likely felt that by not revealing your wealth, you were teaching your son important life lessons about responsibility, self-reliance, and the value of money. It's understandable that you wanted him to be independent and not to feel entitled, especially given the opportunity you had to shield him for the financial burden of student loans. However, your son's reaction suggests that the approach may have unintentionally made him feel deceived, unsupported, and possibly resentful. It is also worth noting that withholding information about your financial situation could be seen as undermining trust in your relationship with your son. From his perspective, he may have felt betrayed, especially after working so hard during college and sacrificing his social life. The fact that he learned about your financial situation in such an indirect and awkward way might have contributed to the intensity of his reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So, some factors to consider: the long term emotional impact. While teaching the value of hard work is important, how you went about it may have unintentionally led to feelings of isolation and confusion for your son. He might have believed that you didn't trust him enough to make his own decisions, or that you didn't have faith in his ability to handle things without making him work so hard for everything. Number two, transparency and trust. Relationships, especially those between parents and children, thrive on trust. By not being transparent about your financial situation, you may have caused your son to feel like he was living a lie. He might be struggling with how to reconcile what he thought was the truth versus what he now knows. Number three, the different reactions. It seems your son is still speaking to your husband, but not you, which could suggest that he feels hurt by your role in this decision. While you may feel that your son should forgive you for the sake of the greater lesson, emotions like betrayal and confusion can cloud a person's judgment and make forgiveness difficult. Is it wrong to want him hardworking? It goes into no. What could you do? You might consider reaching out to your son in a more empathetic way. Let him know that you understand why he feels hurt, betrayed, and that it wasn't your intention to make him feel unloved or unsupported. It just keeps going, but I just
Wow.
thought it was interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, I think there was a balance, and they fell not in the middle, but way on the opposite end
Yeah.
of it. And yeah, I think there was a lot of missed opportunities here and a lack of support that the son needed. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Poor kid. Poor
yeah.
kid. Yeah. So let's end this with your children. of course, your husband. We need some transparency
Yes.
all the way.
Yes. Yeah, and maybe we did an episode on financial infidelity, but maybe there's something there when also it comes to children and transparency with them as well. And not portraying a lie. If you are wealthy, show them the sacrifices that you made to get there and make sure they know that and they still know the value of money, the value of hard work in other ways than depriving them of certain things. So, yeah.
All right. Tell us your thoughts. Leave comments
Yes.
below.
What do you all think? Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.